All right. So, Cheri, we're live. Welcome, everybody. If you're watching us, give us some thumbs ups and some hearts and whatever. Comment on YouTube if you're on YouTube, and thumbs up and hearts if you're on Facebook to make sure you can hear us loud and clear. But today I have my go-to stager for consultations and staging is Cheri Eggleston. Cheri has a ton of experience. I'm not gonna let Cheri explain her experience and her story, but just wanted to get you a proper intro. You know, you're someone that I rely on for professional advice all the time. You always have great stats. You do great marketing too. I think that's actually how we connected originally, was like
Yep.
through Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So big fan of yours, Cheri. These are tribe calls. So these are people that are basically in my tribe. I'm calling them tribe calls. And so thank you for being on today.
Oh, well, thank you for having me, Geoff.
Yeah, of course. So I have a bunch of questions for you. And of course, anybody that's watching, I should be able to see all the comments. I hope I can. And if I miss any comments, then I'll go back and I'll ask Cheri them later. But if you have any questions for her, just drop them in the chat. But we like to kick it off lighthearted, break the ice a little bit with something funny or some good news. And I've put you on the spot because usually I bring that, but I forgot today, just to be honest with you. So it sounds like you might have a funny story to share.
Yeah. So this happened maybe about a year ago. I went into someone's home and I just did my regular consult, and I wrote my notes and got them sent. And so they did a lot of what I told them to do. So then I always pull the homes up online to see how people did after I told them, because this was something that it was sort of a DIY that they did, or DIY. So I told them, okay, so in your laundry room, take everything out, fold a towel and put it on top of your dryer, put a pretty linen spray next to it, and put a plant over here in the corner. And so when I looked at it online, she actually took a towel, like a bath sheet towel, and folded it completely over the dryer, like she was doing wallpaper over the dryer. And then she put a plant on top of it with linen spray. Instead of folding a nice towel on top of the dryer with the linen spray next to it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got a big chuckle out of that one.
You know what? I have empathy for her, because my analytical mind would be like, okay, there's a few ways to do this. I'm going to just do the most literal way.
Yeah, she took it literally, like wrap it like wallpaper, I guess. So anyway, that was pretty funny.
Awesome. So if you guys, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of value that you'll get out of watching this video, whether you're watching it with us right now live or in the future. And at very least, the one takeaway is maybe don't take Cheri quite so literally.
I know. I have to be a little bit more specific on that kind of thing.
So all right. So thank you for sharing that. Let's dive in. So tell the people that are watching now or later just a little bit about you, your background. Tell me about the background of your company. Why did you start staging and doing design work? Just give me the why.
The scoop.
The
okay.
Yeah.
So basically, I think it was about 2003. A friend of mine had her house staged in the Bay Area, and then she moved here, and she thought, oh, this is like kind of a cool kind of a business. And so she wound up starting her own business, and she asked if I wanted to join. And in order for me to join, I had to become certified and, learn about the whole thing. So I went and I got certified through a company called stagedhomes.com to learn kind of the whole process of staging and how it's a little different than interior decorating. And so that by the time I was certified, it was 2004. And so then we worked together for a long time. And at that time, we were trying to educate the real estate market because there wasn't a lot of people staging here. They were in the Bay Area, but not here. And so anyway, we did a lot of educating. And then she wound up moving away to Colorado. And then I wound up just being on my own. And so I started marketing myself and whatnot, and really took off and was doing really well. And then the market crashed. And so then I quit for a couple of years, started again back in 2012, 2013. And I've been doing it ever since. And it's basically just me. I have a team of movers, and I have vendors. If I don't have particular furniture pieces, I have vendors I use, because a lot of times I have all my stuff gone, and so I have to get more. And and I have a couple big huge storage units that have all my stuff in it. And I also have an assistant that I have that works with me all the time. And so we've just basically do everywhere from Placer County to Sac County, the main areas that we do work. And we do occupied homes, we do vacant homes. And if people want to kind of do it themselves, I offer consultations, like which I've done for you a few times, where I go into the home, basically videotape everything, and I tell them exactly how to move, where to move, what to take out. And then I provide them a PDF of everything that they can print out. And so they have like a blueprint of exactly what they need to do.
Yeah.
So I belong to the Real Estate Staging Association, which is an organization just like you guys have with PCAR or whatever, where we are held to high standards on staging. We're not fly-by-night stagers. There's a lot of those kinds of stagers out there. But they don't understand maybe the flow of a home or to work with the aesthetics of the home. And you can't just slap furniture in there and put a plant in the corner, and that's not going to be a way to do it. So I'm really happy to be a part of that group, because we are professional, and we all work together and have our meetings, every month, and learn about different things in the industry that's going on. So, and I've been doing this for a long time, and I absolutely love it. I love design ever since I was a kid. And even in high school, I remember taking a test to see what it is that you would be good at. And mine was merchandising, which at the time I didn't really understand what that was. So what I did for many years is I just taught aerobics for many years. We called it aerobics at that time. I just did that, and then started a family. And then eventually I realized, I guess what I'm doing now is kind of visual merchandising.
Yeah,
So
totally.
that's my whole story with that. So, yeah.
What and I see like the posts that you share on I know like Halloween, anytime to decorate is always a fun time, right? Like I've seen some of your past
Yeah.
stuff on Instagram and
Right.
stuff like that. So
Right. Sometimes it's easier like in the late ends of the year because of Christmas. That's our sort of our slow time. So I have time to kind of work on my own house and do fun things. But in the summertime, it's like I'm barely able to even wipe down a counter. It's just because I'm so busy. Although right now it's a little bit slower because the market's kind of funny right now because of what's going on. But I'm very confident that the market's gonna bounce back.
Yeah. Well, and actually that was one of my questions for you, which I kind of already know part of the answer is, based on what's happened so far, how have you adjusted in terms of serving people in this time, right? Like making it out to the house. There's some hoops to jump through. And
Right. So when we first went into the shelter in place, what I did is I offer, and which I've done for you, I offer the clients, they can videotape their own house from the moment they walk in their front door, and they just go through each room, and I see what they have, and then I can gather all of my thoughts and then put it down, and then I send them the same PDF I would send as if I was there. It's better if I'm there because I can see a lot of detail where I can't see as much detail, but it's enough for them to go ahead and get started and to know what they need to do. And then like when we destage, I've had to do a few destages, and I have to get my stuff out of there. And so we just make sure that we bring, the masks. We have lots of wipes, and the homeowners are really helpful because they kind of gather things that have been upstairs if it's not furniture, and then they'll just bring it down so we can easily get it in and out. I am doing now occupied consults in the homes, as long as the homeowner feels comfortable and I feel comfortable, and wear a mask if need be and whatnot. So that part of it's good. The only thing I'm not doing right now is supplements, meaning if I need to go back to a property and put my furniture in it, but they're living in it, we're waiting to do that until that's kind of more cleared from, our government, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's one thing to have your personal belongings or your belongings in an empty house or a vacant house. It's another thing to put a dining room table in someone's house and then having them eat dinner on it and stuff like that.
Right, exactly. So vacants is not a problem. We can pretty much do vacants at this point. So
yeah. So in normal circumstances, when you're able to go to people's houses and even virtually, it sounds like you're able to facilitate a lot of your services. I know you do staging. I know you do consulting, which we've done both of those together for people that are selling their home. But what services do you offer for people that like you do design work, right? Or
Yeah,
redesign?
right. So what we call that, redesign, what we call that basically is stage to live. And I don't, because I get really busy, I can't spend a ton of time doing that part of my business. I haven't really concentrated on it. But basically, it's the same thing as a consultation. I would just come into a home and see what they have, kind of find out what they want, what they're looking for. And then I'll help them redecorate as far as, take this out, move this here. This is, over here, and this is where you should get something. Maybe I find something from another area of the house, what we decide to put there. And then I can help them source things on a very light basis, meaning if they're looking for a specific kind of furniture piece, I might take some time and, go and say, send them some links and some stuff. This would work. This would work. But as far as picking out, the colors, I can do a very light thing, but picking out colors or fabrics, I can't get into that because I'm just too busy with the staging. But
Sure.
but just the redesign in your own home with what you have, it's I can get in and out within 2 hours to do that. And my staging consultations, just so people know, whether it's redesign, stage to live, or a regular consultation, is 275, and that's for 2 hours. If it goes beyond that, it's $95 an hour. So
Okay.
that's my pricing for the consultations.
Yeah, which for me, I think that's actually there's a ton of value there. Like in living, I've been in my house for the longest I've ever been in my house, right? Like
Yeah, exactly.
all of us have, and I'm looking around and I'm like, find myself being like, what is that doing here? Why did I put that there? And anyhow, I just think it would be cool to kind of change. I think about when I was a kid, I used to move stuff around in my room, right? And when
Right, right.
you'd get your room reconfigured, and it was like felt good. It seems like now would be a good time to rearrange your house a little bit. Maybe
Right,
get
exactly. And like what I always tell people too is that, with interior design, the way we live in our homes and the way we market our homes is different, because we all live with our treasures and things around us and everything. And that's what I try to do on the stage to live, because people want their treasures around and how to use them differently. But with
Mm,
staging, obviously it's a lot different because they're trying to show off the architecture of a home, not the
right.
thing so much.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and so kind of on a spin on that, just so everybody knows, if you are planning on selling your home, in the next year or so, but in the meantime, maybe you want to like live a little lighter or just enjoy like a different vibe in your house, staging consultations are covered through our services. So if you want to kind of get a jump start on staging now and then enjoy it for a little bit and then get your house ready for later, that's something to consider. So
Yeah, we also try to
um,
do that in our own homes too, because I want my home to be ready to put on the market one day without having to do all this stuff, because people get their house all nice and whatever, and then they move. You want to enjoy it for
yeah,
a while.
yeah. We've had one client in the past that did get their house staged, or they did a consultation, they got it staged, did a video, we did everything. And I think they should have done it much sooner too, because then it was like, oh, this is kind of nice. Maybe we don't want to move anymore. It's like, I
Well,
did too good of
well,
a
a lot of
job.
people, yeah, a lot of people, they have kids and they don't know where to put things, and I give them a lot of ideas for how to better, manage the space that they have. So, because
Yeah,
life is busy and we all get caught up in life, and it's sometimes hard to figure things out.
sure. Yeah, I'm sure. I know I actually did a poll recently and I said, who wants a bigger house, right? Or who's wishing they had a bigger house right about now? And it was a pretty overwhelming, it was about 90% that said, yes, we want a bigger
Oh,
house
for
right now.
sure. Yeah, for sure.
And so on the one hand, as much as I would love to sell people a new home, maybe just hiring you to do a redesign and design to live might be a better option, right?
Hmm.
Certainly
Hmm.
a less expensive option. Um, so we've talked about how things changed in your business. Are there things um, are there things like that homeowners could do? So let's say I want to do a redesign, or I want to stage my house to sell. Is there anything that you would say to do like before we have a
Before,
consultation?
yeah. So most people, a lot of people already know this, but when I come into a home and you're going to sell your home, there's certain things that you really need to do that people don't really like to do. And I try to tell them you have to detach yourself from your house because your house holds all kinds of memories. And those memories you don't want to necessarily give to other people coming in. They don't want to see your memories. They just want to see a clean plate for their family to move in. So
Yeah.
removing personal photos. We all have personal photos. We have wedding photos. We have photos of our kids and things like that. You need to remove those, especially if your kids have names. Well, all kids have names, but they have their
Like
names in
up
their
on.
over their bed. Yeah, or
Hmm.
in their room. Those pictures are going to go online. And to 99% of people looking for a house, and they're going to see it. You just don't want your kids' names all over those pictures, so you want to take those down. Anything that's religious, anything that's political, and anything that's like really crazy colors. You should always be as neutral as possible. Um, so when I first started staging years ago, red was the big color, right? Well, now red is one of those colors you want to take out, especially on walls, because it makes things look so dark. So the trend is you want your house to be as open and as light as possible. If you have heavy window treatments, take them down, because when we do vacant homes, we don't even use window treatments. It kind of
Mm,
makes the house look open and new. So you can, of
right.
course, keep your blinds and that sort of thing. So those are things that are really important, um, from the get go, before I would even show up. But if I show up, I can tell them, to do these things. But those things are the
Sure.
first thing I'm going to tell people to do, because if they've got pictures and they're looking at pictures in the house, they're basically taking their eyes off the floor plan, and they're sitting there looking at the pictures, trying to figure out their thing. Oh, pretty married couple. Oh, I wonder how long they've been married. Oh, how many kids do they have? I mean, that people are thinking this when they walk
You,
in.
you, yeah, you can't help it. Your brain just
Right,
goes
absolutely.
there.
Human nature. So you
Hmm.
don't want to give them any story at all when you walk in the door. You want to just have them focus on the house and how it's best going to fit with their family.
Yeah. And I think okay, so that's such a huge point. And I've dove deeper into that conversation with other clients. One client, for example, was just so fixated on that idea, right? Like, well, maybe they want to know it's been a nice family that lives here and stuff like that. It's not about the context of the story. It doesn't
Right,
matter what it is they're thinking about the story. They could be thinking all these amazing, beautiful thoughts, but you don't want
right,
them thinking anything about anything. You just want
right.
them thinking about the house and where their furniture is going to go and their
Exactly.
kids are going to be running around. You want them to create this emotional attachment to your
Exactly. And part of the problem that people have with that too is that once they start taking down personal photos, it's real. It means,
Mm,
oh, I have to detach myself from this house that holds all these memories and start packing them. It's bringing it to be real. And so that's one of the first things I ask people when I go into their property is, so how do you feel, or where are you moving? Kind of find out their story, and then say, how do you feel about your detachment of the house? I mean, how do you feel about that? To kind of
yeah.
gauge how they're going to be, because it's, especially for people who've been in their house for 25, 30, 40 years,
Mm,
it's not easy. But then most
yeah.
of the time they have another place they're going to, and I try to get them to focus on that.
Something that a client of mine said the other day, and I thought it was really beautiful actually. And I'm gonna, of course, be just because of the way I am, I'm gonna mess it up. But or my language, I'm gonna mess it up. But she said, they have 4 kids. Their kids are young. They've been in the house about the same amount of time that their kids have been alive, right?
Hmm.
And they really are like, we don't want to leave this house. We have so many great memories here. And she said, your memories are not within these walls. Your
They're
memories
all
are
here.
within you, are in your
Yeah,
head. They're in your heart. Yeah,
yeah,
they're
that's
within
right.
you. And oh, that was like
And you can
really,
take all those memories with you to your next house.
yeah, absolutely. So I thought that was a
Yeah,
really cool, kind of a nice way to
right.
put it. So
And then, so the other thing that I do too is that when I walk into a property, many times realtors, they hire me to sort of do the dirty work, because sometimes the realtor doesn't want to tell them, you really need to take that naked picture off the fireplace, or you need to take the moose head off the wall, or you don't want to be the
yeah,
one to tell them that. So I do, but I do it in an edifying way so that they understand the concept of why. And I always edify the realtor, especially if the realtor's paying for the consultation. You want to edify the realtor. That's part of my job, to make sure that they know that they are in great hands. And any communication I have with your client, I always edify and say, hey, you're in great hands with this realtor. Worked with them for a while. And it really makes the realtor feel good about, using me as a third party expert, so that they don't have to say things they may feel uncomfortable saying about their property.
No doubt. Yeah. I mean, I can attest to that. Like on a professional level, I would almost always go to every single staging appointment that I've ever been on throughout, mostly consultations. And eventually, you get comfortable and you trust the person you work with. Well, I think I've only been to one with you, right? And then the other one's like, yeah, okay, it's okay.
Right.
You go. So
you know how I work, and so once you feel comfortable with me, then usually the realtors aren't even there. So
right. Yep.
Yeah.
So, okay, my next question is kind of shifting gears into data, because I know in the past, like you've always been awesome. I swear you look at MLS more than some agents that I know.
Well, I have to, because if I have a lot of stuff in that house, I want to know when it's pending, because I got to make sure, am I going to be charging them for another month, or am I going to have to schedule to go D-stage? Because we can't get a phone call say, oh yeah, we're closing and they're moving out in 3 days. Can you come pick everything up? It's like,
right.
I need time. We need time to schedule that, especially in the busy season. We need up to a week sometimes to get our movers, because they're not just working with us, they're working with other stagers. So that's one of the reasons I keep track of that.
Okay. Well, and I'm going to actually push it even further, because you were keeping track of a property that I had listed that was vacant, that you were like, you had no stake in the game at that point, and you're just, hey, this needs some love, it needs some help. So, and at the time you introduced some stats and stuff like that to me, and I believed it, right? I was like, yes, I agree, we need to do that. It's not always, it takes two to tango sometimes with the
right.
But so the seller wasn't quite ready for it. But in terms of stats, why in terms of selling your home, like, why stage? Do you have numbers around that? Or?
Well, with the Real Estate Staging Association, we have statistics basically saying that if you basically are going to stage your property before you actually list it, it's going to sell. I'm trying to put the numbers here. I'm not a big numbers person. I'm more of the creative side. So I'm kind of going off of this list here. So had homes been staged first, their time in the market would have been much lower than if they don't stage. Because many times we get calls for houses that are either vacant or they've been occupied, but they don't show well. And they may even be priced right, but they don't show well at all. So then we go and stage it. And like literally within 2 weeks, even as fast as a week, they'll get offers on the property. The numbers here is if you had mortgage, how does this work here? I should have been a little bit better with this statistics here.
Well, I'll put you on the spot. I know you're creative, and maybe I shouldn't.
But basically, if the house is staged first, 86% of the houses that are staged first sell like within 2 weeks before if they did nothing. And other thing that homeowners have to think about is, I'm carrying the mortgage on this home, but I'm also carrying all the utilities and everything on this home, especially if I have another one I'm moving into. So your goal is to get your home sold as much as possible, so you're not carrying 2 mortgages.
Yeah.
And I can tell people that if they go to the Real Estate Staging Association online, they have a thing there about statistics. So it's called realestatestagingassociation.com. You can go on there and click on statistics, and you can get the actual numbers, because the numbers are nationally, not regionally. And so the numbers here might be different than the numbers in, Chicago or something like that. But as a stager, almost, 9 times out of 10, the house will sell within a month, sometimes 2 weeks, sometimes opening day. Like you had one that sold really quick, compared to a house that they do nothing.
Right. So I believe in it, and to kind of drive this home even further in terms of the value of staging, I've actually had a client. They're they're amazing clients who are turned out to be just, we're I consider them close friends. And originally they were going to sell their home on their own, right? They were going to, so they kind of had the mentality of like, let's avoid any sort of costs or fees, right? We can do this on our own. So like the idea of hiring a realtor seemed just crazy and expensive to them, especially the idea of doing staging when I told them, a ballpark of what it could cost seemed outrageous to them. But at the end of the day, what I said is this: I said I believe in staging. So after I convinced them to hire me, right,
Yeah.
or they believed
Then
in
you
it
have
and
to
they
convince
bought
them to
in,
stage. Yeah.
I had to convince them to stage. And so, but I believed in it so much that what I told them, I said, listen, I know that staging is going to show your home better. And in fact, I know that staging is going to help your home sell for actually more than what you're listing it for.
Right. It happens all the time. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you sell,
And
and I put my money where my mouth is, I said, if your home doesn't sell for the amount, let's just say ballpark figure, I'm just throwing a number out there. Let's say staging, for their home was $2,000. I can't remember what it was, but I said, if your home doesn't sell for $2,000 more, I'll pay for the $2,000
yeah.
staging.
Right.
And
Right.
it did. It sold for over, well over that.
Yeah.
And they were happy, of course, and
Right.
satisfied. But anyhow,
And
it's a
then this
good
is
thing.
another thing that we always tell homeowners too, is because people don't like to part with their money on something that they're not really sure about. But then I always tell them this. So let's say you don't stage your house and you are in an occupied home and it just doesn't show that well. And let's say it sits on the market, especially if a home is dated, and it has old things in it. It just, people just don't associate as well with those homes. And so they're on the market for, let's say, 60 days and nothing's happening. So what I always tell them is the cost of staging is always less than your first price reduction. So if you got a house on the market for 650,000 and it's not selling and you've had to pay 2 months of mortgage for it, I come in, we stage it, and then it sells right away. That cost of staging is way less than what you would have reduced that price for. You probably would have reduced it maybe $15,000. Well,
Yeah.
for a typical stage of even a vacant homes, not going to be $15,000.
Right.
So, we work anywhere from, like a small home that's vacant, anywhere from like $1,500 if it's like one room, maybe a kitchen and, not much else, all the way
Yeah.
up, depending on the size of the home, how much furniture goes in. But typically it's going to be under, $6,000-7,000 if that was a multi-million-dollar home.
Right.
So the
Yeah.
price
So
range
it'll
is
be
very
it'll be
unique.
under 1%, and a price reduction is
Right.
almost always higher than 1%.
Right.
So
Right. So I always try to tell people the cost of staging is always less than your first price reduction or any price reduction at that
yeah.
point. Yeah.
Um, do you have do you have any like recent success stories that you want to share or
Yeah.
talk about?
Yeah. Well, I have so many, but I can tell you of a recent one. We did a home in, I think it was mid-February, or late February, but kind of before we went into the shelter in place. And it was a
Uh-huh.
really nice home, but they had nothing. They just had nothing. And so this is in, I think, the Finnement area. And and he had kids and everything. So anyway, we went in and we staged it. And especially with the craziness of the market right now, you're not sure if you're going to get serious buyers. So anyway, within the first opening weekend, they got an offer. But then they were concerned about the whole, COVID thing and what's going to happen. And so it was contingent for a while. And so then they had to kind of, I guess, if it's contingent, sometimes you can still have it on the market for a while, I think, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that
Mhm.
works. And so these people really wanted the home. And so they just waited it out and then they decided, let's just pull the trigger. So then they went back onto pending. And now we're going to be destaging the property here probably next week.
Okay.
So that was a home that I wasn't sure what was going to happen with this market.
Yeah.
We've had homes where had been on the market. I had one that was in Granite Bay, and it was an older lady that lived alone, and she had very dated items, and it was set up confusing because it was a really open concept, and nobody could figure out where do I do, what do I do, where to put the TV, So we went in, had her take out all the furniture. We brought in the furniture. She had a few things she could keep, and we staged it. And this house had been on the market for like 90 days or more. So we went in and staged it. They priced it the same, and it sold in the first 2 weeks. because people couldn't figure out how to work. How was this going
Yeah.
to work?
Yeah.
So, we get a lot of those kinds, properties, because we've
Wow.
got the eye and the floor plan. We know exactly how to, basically, you're telling a story as soon as you walk in that door as to how to use the space, where a lot of people don't have that vision, and they need that vision to tell them, this is how you use the space. So
Hmm.
that's what our job is.
You know what? And I was thinking about this too, for an inexperienced real estate agent, they should almost just have you come in no matter what, because you've been through more homes than most. Well, you've been through more homes than experienced real estate agents because
Probably. Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
And
And
so you just
I always tell realtors, if you start hiring a stager to do your listings, not only are your listings going to be really good, your clients are going to be so happy that when people look at the property and other neighbors find out, well, who your house sold so fast, who's your realtor? Well, it was Geoff Goolsby, and they'll explain, oh yeah, they paid for the staging consultation for us to do what we did, and so then they're going to go to you and rehire you. Or if it's between you and a few other realtors on a listing, the one that's going to be marketing their house in a way that makes sense, like having a stager look at it, you're going to get the listing over someone who does nothing. Because there have been times where a realtor goes in, does nothing, the house doesn't sell, then another realtor takes over, they hire us, the house sells right away.
yeah.
So it really makes a huge difference. And then you're always associated with houses that always look good on the MLS.
Yeah. Yep. And then also too, you don't have to have as a realtor, you don't have to have difficult conversations with your clients
Right.
about it.
And
And you
that
know
can
what?
be tough. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and to speak to that too, do you know why because I feel like I've been on enough staging consultations that I could probably tell them the right things to do based on, and I do feel comfortable doing it, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to put my hat on real quick. There've been times where it's like, we got to get this on the market. We don't have time to do a
Right.
consultation. I'm going to just tell them what to do. But here's the reason why I actually do it. And it's not to have you do my dirty work, but it's because by coming in, I say, yeah, I've been on these staging appointments, but I'm not a professional stager. And so now I'm walking through the house and I'm giving my opinions to people,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I've
Mm-hmm.
actually been hired by other people that said, oh yeah, she told me to get rid of that, right? And I don't understand why. And just the way that it was said was just so off-putting, right? And it
Yeah.
actually lost
Right.
that person the business. And it's a degree of separation. Like, I'm going to stay in my lane and I'm going to do my thing, and I'm going to bring somebody else in that's a pro, and they're going to do their thing. And this is
Right.
all for you. And we're bringing professional service to you.
Right. And sometimes you'll get clients that are really resistant. And I've had those clients, and they're not even that friendly. And then when I leave, all of a sudden we're best friends. They understand why I
Yeah,
said what I said. And then they'll text me with pictures of things they've done, because when I go to an
that's cool.
appointment, I can say, you can do this, and then let me know. Like this morning, I got a text from a client that I was up in Meadow Vista, and she said she set the thing up, and she goes, well, what about this? And I told her, okay, now, no, you need to do this. You need to move the rug a little bit further under the thing, adjust this. And then, so they can still work with me that way. It's not like I go in and I'm out and I'm gone. I mean,
Yeah,
I try to be as accommodating as possible. And then this makes
right.
it easier for your clients. So,
Yeah. No, you need to unwrap the washer or unwrap the dryer.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
So real quick, I'm gonna jump in here. I was looking at, I'm a fan of your Instagram, and I'm a bigger fan of your Instagram because I realized that my photo is on it. So I'm gonna share my screen here, and I wasn't trying to just insert my own little commercial here, but do you have so tell me about some of the because I know there's kind of a story behind each of these,
Yeah.
right? Like
So do the one in the middle bottom. Yeah, right there. Click that one.
okay.
And then go to the other one.
So this is
Attached to that.
staged, and that
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, so this house was actually vacant, but the homeowner had some furniture. So the realtor wanted me to take a look at it and figure out what we could use that they still had to make the cost a little less. So I said, take this, and this out. So they took out the majority of their furniture, but they had a few pieces that were really good. And actually, a few pieces they had I liked so much I bought for my
Nice.
inventory. But anyway, this table, I said, keep the table, get rid of everything else. So then that's what we did. We just brought in different chairs and we brought in art and just set it up so that it looked much more cohesive. And then the colors matched what was in the living room. So
Yeah.
that was an easy fix before and after.
Oh yeah, that's literally the same. Oh, okay, cool. That's the
Yeah.
same tool. Awesome. Okay. And
So this one,
this,
go scroll to the other side for the before. This is a lady that was in Rio Linda, and she had nothing. She hardly had anything in her home. And so we went from this, and then you scroll over to this. And she had covers for her couches. Well, it's hard to work with stripes and trying to bring in art that I have to work with it. So we
yeah,
brought in, extra tables and some art and greenery and whatnot just to make it. And that was a success story. It sold right away.
yeah, cool. And Real Linda. So a lot of times I think people think staging and like, oh, my home is not a high-end home. Like we've done staging for, well, property, all types of properties in different
Right.
areas and different price points. So
I've gone from, $300,000 and under homes, all the way up to, 2.5 million. So it's all across the board. Every house can use it, can benefit.
yeah,
This one was a property, and the bottom picture or the top picture was just way too much furniture, and it had some dated elements to it, and the scale was wrong. So we had them at the consultation. I told them, okay, you need to take this out, move this couch over here. We're going to bring in a smaller coffee table, and bring in some different art and colors, and just made it look a little bit more updated, fresh, and clean.
yeah,
And that was another success story that sold like within the first week.
love it.
And then the next pictures that you show are basically, these were all vacant homes. We try to put personality into it, but we have a rhyme and reason. So the colors, we try to keep the colors the same, to make it
Hey,
tell a story.
I know
And
this house.
that house was actually a very good friend of ours that my son and their son was best friends in college, and we're roommates, and they're still friends today. And that was his friend's parents' house.
So this is just
Yeah.
a coincidence, people
Yeah.
watching. We didn't set this up, but yeah, Cheri, you had such cool pieces of furniture. My clients actually wanted to buy. So my clients
Right.
bought this house, and they
Yeah.
actually wanted to buy the kitchen table.
Yeah. That's funny. And then this one here, again, you see, like we try to keep things so they blend nicely. And they're cohesive, like the table, it's got that really cool vibe to it. The art's very similar. We try to
Mm,
keep things fun and neutral and clean.
yeah,
This is
nice.
another one that was in downtown Sac, small little house. We did a mid-century theme and
Yeah.
just bringing in color and just making it look really nice. And then I think the next picture is one of another house that was in, I think this was in maybe Carmichael or something. Or no, this one's in Penryn.
Hmm.
So this one, we just, again, using orange, you just kind of, it was very rustic. So the furniture and stuff that we brought in, we try to keep it on that rustic look.
Okay. Cool.
And then this one was another small little home. It was this home was under, I think it was maybe just 325 or something like that, and had a very small room. And so we just, couldn't put very much furniture in there. So we used different kinds of furniture to make it appear bigger. And
Yeah.
that, again, was another success story. And actually, I went out, gave the bid. She decided, we're just going to put it in vacant. Went vacant, hardly any showings. And then she called me back about 2 weeks later, says, I think I want you to stage it. We went in, we staged it, and within 2 weeks, it was sold.
Nice.
So, yeah. So
And
those are
so
just,
in order to make it look open, like this table here, open legs, like this coffee table, open legs, like
right.
that's kind of, yeah.
Right. And it's like, where am I going to put the TV? That's the other thing. We always try to figure, because especially in some of the homes, you don't know where to put the TV because
Yeah.
everyone's got the big screens. And so we
Right.
have to try to figure out the best way. And you want to make it so that when you walk into a room, there's a nice flow. You don't want to be blocked, but you don't want windows blocked. You want it to feel open and inviting for people to come sit down and, look at things. So anyone who wants ideas, just for if they want to do it themselves or whatever, my Instagram page is a great page to follow because I post a lot of pictures of before and afters and just how to set up vignettes. I refer clients there all the time. Do your bathroom, put this here, put that, just look at my pictures, and you can, be inspired by something that you can just do yourself.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I like how too. So yeah, we have your Instagram handle on here, and then if you if you just go to her website, egglestondesigns.com, you can click on follow us on Instagram, and plus, of course, there's the gallery and all that stuff too. So that's
Right.
awesome.
So you can see the Instagram from my website, but you can also follow me on just the regular app as well.
Perfect. Hey, I know I said you could kind of run with anything else that you want people to know about. Is there anything that you want us to know?
Just know that if anyone calls me, I'm very open and honest about, pricing. People always try to get us to, be as little as possible. And there's things about staging that people don't realize behind the scenes how much energy and work goes into it. They think, well, my house is fairly small. I don't have that much furniture. But what they don't understand is we have to hire help. We have to hire movers, and the truckers and the movers we use are, not super inexpensive. We have to make sure that we have access to the property to get in, but we're also paying for not just for the furniture, but you're paying for the design, for our professional design to go with that home. You're paying for the rental of the items that are there, and you have to sort of pay for us to come pick it up. So
Hmm.
getting it there and picking it up is a certain amount of money, and then you're paying for, our minds in design and how we're going to set it up for that particular property. So,
Right.
like I said, you could hire someone that comes with an open bed trailer and just throws a bunch of furniture in, but doesn't maybe have the experience. And then we also are licensed and insured, where there's some stages that aren't.
Hmm.
And we have to make sure that we're up on board with all that stuff. So whenever anyone hires a stager, you need to ask these questions. And one other tip is, if your homeowners or have a vacant home and they're not living in the home, especially if they live away, they should have some sort, make sure that they check with their insurance company as to whether the items in that home are under their homeowner's insurance, because many times it's not, if they've moved, if they've vacated the property. So if for
Um,
some reason all our stuff got stolen, you are responsible, whoever signs that contract. And through RISA, we have an insurance program. I think it's $180. It covers up to $10,000 worth of property that's in a home. So
yeah.
no questions asked. Things get destroyed, ruined, stolen, it's paid for.
Right.
So that's something
Yeah.
that's pretty important in today's world. And I have had houses broken into before. It
Mm.
has happened. One time, just main, I think it was just like one time. And then other times it was when a maid came in and took stuff.
Oh, okay.
So,
It's not broken into, but definitely stolen from. Got it.
oh, and one other thing, I've had
Yeah.
numerous times where I've had like a bottle of, that looks like a bottle of whiskey in a setup in a bar. And
Mm.
twice I've had someone lift that whiskey and take it, thinking that it's real whiskey. It's just colored water.
Was it the agent holding the open house?
I don't know if
I'm
it's
just kidding.
no, I don't think so. But it was just funny. I'm like, you're gonna gag when you try to open that up and drink it.
Yeah.
Are you really thinking I'm gonna put like a $50 bottle of whiskey?
Yeah.
It's just funny.
Yeah. Joke's on me on that one. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, cool. Well, Cheri, I know how valuable your time is, and so I appreciate you sharing it with us today. And yeah, if everybody follow Cheri on Instagram, you won't be disappointed. It's fun to follow Cheri, and yeah, if you have more questions, drop them in the comments. I'll get them over to her later. And yeah, if you need staging advice or redesign, I'll get you her contact info.
Great. Well, thanks for having me, Geoff. It's been a lot of fun, and I enjoy working with you. So I'm sure we'll be doing some more work together soon.
Yeah, of course. All right. Take care.
All right. You too. Bye bye.
All right. Bye.